I wanted to expand on my previous video where I explained President Biden's new policy for U.S. citizen spouses. So the general rule is if you entered without inspection, you weren't admitted and paroled, then you generally have to go back to your country to finish the through consulate processing. So for example, you would file an I-130 for a US citizen spouse, and then you may be eligible for a 601A provisional unlawful status waiver. Once it's approved, you have to complete the processing in your country. Now, I want to differentiate this from those who have entered and been admitted, inspected, and paroled. For example, someone who came as a visitor or as an F1 student, they may be able to eventually adjust their status through a US citizen spouse. Let's say they came as an F1 and then they later got married to a US citizen. They may be able to adjust while they're still physically here if they meet certain requirements. But the main issue I want you to focus on is the entering without inspection. That's when this new President Biden policy is relevant. Another thing I want to explain is the general rule is the person has to go back to their home country to complete processing. But there are different laws and regulations, different benefits available that may not be relevant in this situation. For example, let's say someone entered without inspection and they're married to a US citizen, but they've experienced extreme cruelty or battery from their US citizen spouse. Then they may be eligible through VAWA, right? And they wouldn't have to necessarily leave the United States to process that. So that's one example of maybe you entered without inspection, you're married to a US citizen spouse, but you're not necessarily having to leave. So President Biden's policy is relevant where you don't have any of those other options. If you would like to discuss your case, I highly recommend going directly to my booking page and booking online, but you can also call my office to book a consultation, and that phone number is 817-213-6760. Also, if you know someone in this situation or someone who has questions about this, then you are welcome to send my information their way. And last but not least, if you are listening, make sure to like, share, and or subscribe. Thank you so much.